1番線の電車は10時32分発各駅停車海浜幕張行きです。Thank you for riding with JR East. The next departure from track number 1 will be the 10:32 a.m. local train.
Hello, all you wonderful people. It's been forever since I've been on a train, and it's kind of relaxing just to hear the Japanese transit system. Luckily, it was pretty sparse. But I headed back to a place I visited only once on a day that was jam-packed with people because it was free. The Tokyo Sea Life Aquarium, not to be confused with the Sea Life chain of aquariums. It's located in Kasai Rikai Park, which is hosting the kayaking for the Olympics, but I'll talk about that later. Currently, the only way to get to the aquarium is by making a reservation. If you happen to be in Tokyo during 2020 and 2021, most of the zoos and experiences were cut short or not open because of safety concerns. But Disney was open because, surprisingly, Tokyo Disney isn't in Tokyo, it's in Chiba. They currently let groups in about 30-minute intervals. Now, I'm not an architect, nor am I a marine biologist, but what I think they were going for here was a jellyfish that you enter in underneath. If there wasn't guides to take you under the structure, I think people would get lost trying to find where the entrance is. And if you say, hey, that's so obvious, everyone would know where to go. If you happen to be in Universal Studios, stand in front of Diagon Alley for about 5 minutes, and you'll hear so many confused tourists. Crazy to think that this is the closest I have been to Disney in about 2 years. You can see the castle right off from the entrance. Once inside, you got some wild hammerheads and stingrays. There was next to no one near the tank, so it was cool to take in all the ambiance. Moving through the aquarium, you came across giant isopods, giant pufferfish, and a Goliath grouper. It's pretty cool to see all the life that's going on in these tanks, including the seahorses and the sea dragons. They're so mysterious. But then you reach the main attraction of the aquarium. This is an incredibly massive tank that encircles the middle part of the experience. Filled mostly with tuna, it gives you an appreciation for the size of these monsters that you usually spread on toast. And it's actually quite hypnotic just to sit and stare, watch these massive creatures go back and forth. Hey Trevor, been a while since I've seen you.
Hi, Scott. Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Last time we were here, this place was packed.
Yeah, it's much better this time.
Yeah. Well, of course we're wearing masks now, but that's the way of the world, I guess.
Yeah, but my mask has Miyagi-Ken Man on there.
You're gonna not believe this, but it's really dark in this room. It's gonna be hard to see that. Let's turn this way. Who's Miyagi-Ken?
It's Miyagi-san. It's Mr. Miyagi
From the Karate Kid.
From the Karate Kid.
But he lived in Okinawa.
Why was he named Miyagi then?
Because that was his name.
He should be Mr. Okinawa.
Oof. Ooh, that's a hot take right there. In the back part of the tank, you can see these huge sharks. But does anyone know what this is? Like I said, I'm not a marine biologist, but I want to say this is a type of stingray. Just outside the main tank, you can see Morgan Freeman's favorite aquatic animal. And right next to them is something called a fairy penguin, which I assume was a child or a baby penguin, but that's as big as they get. They also have a section dedicated to the Bay of Tokyo, where you can see cephalopods using their brains to open jars if you happen to be so lucky. This guy was chowing down on a shrimp. If that don't impress you much, you might like the Mud Skippers, featuring a crab that is probably more confused about existence than anything in this aquarium. And wrapping up the aquarium is the puffins, which is what I would imagine chickens look like if they could fly, except underwater. This whole video was shot hours before finding out that Tokyo was about to go into its 4th lockdown. It's just wild that during the Olympics, which they have now officially said there will be no spectators allowed at, that there's another lockdown. I can understand safety, but it's strange that these massive courses have been built all around the city. Some have been up for about a year and they're just going to sit empty. Also, is it strange that there's a lockdown and there's a major sporting event still allowed to go on? I mean, if you head over to the Olympic Village, you'll find that the roads are blocked because they don't want anyone coming in or out unless they're performing. Also, and this doesn't reflect all of Japan, this sign just showed up in a Japanese hotel. I'm sure the Olympics will go off without a hitch, but it just seems so dystopian right now. Then again, this may be the start of the real life Akira, which, if that's the case, I hope everyone gets a cool motorcycle. Well, as I always say, you can do it, I can do it, we can all do it. Stay groovy and have a wonderful day. Thanks for making it to the end, and peace.